Hello, and welcome. When we study World War II, the narrative is often dominated by tanks, blitzkriegs, and decisive battles. But beneath the surface of the conflict, there was another, far darker war being waged, a war of scientific ambition and technological terror. The Third Reich, driven by desperation and a chilling faith in engineering, poured unimaginable resources into developing Wunderwaffen, wonder weapons. We know of the V-2 rockets, the jet fighters. But today, we're not talking about the weapons they did use. We're discussing the three most devastating, bizarre, and terrifying projects that Adolf Hitler ultimately failed to deploy, either due to a failure of nerve, a lack of time, or the sheer, paralyzing impossibility of their own terrible scale. These weren't just experimental concepts. They were highly funded, advanced scientific nightmares that, had they succeeded, could have fundamentally altered the course of history. They represent the terrifying limit of human ingenuity harnessed by absolute evil. Project 1, the Sun Gun, Weaponizing the Sky. Imagine a weapon so ambitious, so fantastical, that it sounds like science fiction written today. Yet, Nazi scientists seriously pursued it. This was the Sun Gun. The concept, the idea originated with German physicist Hermann Oberth, later adapted by a German artillery engineer at the Hillersleben Proving Grounds. The plan was to build an enormous orbital mirror, a space-based weapon, orbiting 5,100 miles above the Earth. The engineering nightmare, this mirror, proposed to be 1.5 square miles wide, was intended to focus the sun's energy onto specific points on Earth. The focused heat was designed to literally boil oceans, incinerate cities, or flash-drive vast tracts of farmland, turning them into unusable deserts. Why it failed/wasn't used, the project was utterly theoretical. It required resources, technology, and launch capability that the Nazis were nowhere near possessing, especially in the late stages of the war. They could barely launch the V-2s, launching a mile-wide space mirror was pure fantasy. Hitler's desperate push for immediate, tangible results meant that this long-term, impossible dream remained forever on the drawing board. Project 2, the atomic bomb, the race Hitler lost. This is arguably the most famous failure. Germany was home to some of the world's finest physicists, including Werner Heisenberg. They were pioneers in nuclear theory, and the German uranium project began before the American Manhattan Project. The scientific edge, Germany controlled the best source of heavy water, deuterium oxide, in Europe, the Norsk hydro plant in Norway, which was essential for moderating fission reactions. They had the scientific talent and the initial lead. The crucial failure, the key mistake wasn't technical, but political and organizational. Hitler was obsessed with immediate, decisive weapons, things that could be used in months, not years. He dismissed nuclear science as Jewish physics. Furthermore, the German project was fragmented, with competing scientists and a catastrophic miscalculation of the required critical mass of uranium-235. Why it failed/wasn't used, unlike the centralized, billion-dollar Manhattan Project, Germany's efforts suffered from infighting, resource scarcity, especially after the sabotage of the heavy water plant, and Hitler's impatience. They never managed to achieve a self-sustaining chain reaction or produce enough fissile material. Had Hitler given the project the centralized priority it required earlier in the war, the outcome remains a terrifying hypothetical. Project 3, the Flying Saucer, the Pure Madness. This project exists on the dangerous border between historical fact and post-war conspiracy theory, yet the existence of high-level research into exotic propulsion is undeniable. This involves the alleged development of advanced, unconventional aircraft. The bizarre ambition, towards the end of the war, Nazi scientists were reportedly experimenting with radical anti-gravity or advanced jet propulsion systems, leading to persistent claims of disc-shaped aircraft, burly, flying saucers, known in legend as Haunebu or Vril. More concrete, though still shrouded in mystery, was the V-7 vertical takeoff aircraft and highly unusual research connected to the mysterious device known as Die Glocke, the bell. The technology, This research focused on concepts far beyond conventional aerodynamics, potentially involving rotating combustion chambers or high-velocity rotational energy. The objective was to create aircraft that were nearly impossible to shoot down and could achieve incredible speeds. Why it failed/wasn't used. This research was almost entirely conducted in secret, last-ditch facilities as the war was ending. While prototypes or test flights may have occurred, the technology was never perfected, let alone militarized. The goal was to create a technological leap so vast it would negate the Allies' numerical advantage. Time ran out, the labs were overrun, and the most sensitive data was either destroyed or seized by Allied and Soviet intelligence, perpetuating the myth rather than the weapon. Conclusion: the lesson of desperation. These three projects, the cosmic fantasy of the sun gun, the catastrophic failure of the atomic bomb project, and the technological delirium of the flying saucers, tell a singular, chilling story. They reveal a regime that was willing to pursue scientific destruction without ethical limit, fueled by a desperation that only grew as the war turned against them. Hitler believed that technology, the Wunderwaffen, could override logistics, manpower, and strategic blunders. Ultimately, his obsession with the immediate weapon, his disregard for fundamental scientific processes, and the sheer impossibility of these visions saved the world from a far more terrible conclusion. The failure of these secret projects is perhaps the greatest silent victory of the Allied powers. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you found this journey into history's darkest labs compelling. Which of these three terrifying projects do you think pose the biggest threat to the world? Let me know in the comments below.